interesting story. So you guys are just asking where I'm from. So my story is I do sales training, sales coaching, but I also still sell in a dealership 2 weeks a month. So I work at Varsity Ford in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I've worked for 11 years, and I sell cars the last 2 weeks of the month. But I live in St. George, Utah. So I live 1,852 miles from where I work, but I've built up such an abundance and a clientele, and I've done a lot of that through leasing, that I set up appointments with my smartphone, text, email, social media. Hey, can we come in tomorrow? Hey, my friend's coming in tomorrow. Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? I'll simply say, hey folks, I'm out of the office for 2 weeks. So I'm in Utah here with my family. I'll be in Monday the 15th. How does 3 o'clock sound? It's 3:30 good for you. It's 4 o'clock sound. So what I was able to do is give them such an experience and build such a loyal business that they would only want to see me. They're willing to wait for me. They know the experience I'm going to give them, the pain I take out of the process is worth every bit of that wait. They know they're going to come get the Noel Walsh experience. So we moved our family across the country. We wanted better weather. I wanted the mountains back. I grew up out west. If you've ever been out west, the sky's the bluest. You've got the mountains, you've got fresh air, you've got big ponderosa pines. So we moved our family across the country, and my mantra is conquer what you chase. And so I was going to go out and conquer my dream, conquering what I was chasing. So we did that. I left what was easy to go be bold. My story is I've sold over 3,000 cars, and it's never bragging. I like to tell people what I've done so you see it's possible. You know, I've done many things in life where I saw somebody who I thought was like me and came from the same place as me and was able to do huge things. And it made those a reachable goal rather than, you know, if you see somebody climb to the top of the mountain, they show you the path, you can get to the top of the mountain. But if you just look at the top of the mountain, you think, gosh, I can never get there. So I like people to see what I've been able to do in the business. I've sold over 3,000 cars, made over $2 million in earned commissions. That's amazing. And that's what this business can do for you. You can make a lot of money in this business, and it's all about that repeat referral relationship customer. Giving them what they want, taking the pain out of the deal. I've been in the industry for 18 years, so there's a value for the dealership and creates them income. Because the reasons dealerships have us is because they need us to sell their product. And so when we are there, we need to perform for them, just like an athlete does. I always compare car sales to like an athlete. You know, they love you when you're pretty. When you're hitting 50 home runs, they love you. When you're striking out all the time, they don't. Car sales is the same. When you're putting up big numbers, they love you. When you don't perform, they hate you. What do we say in the business? Hero to zero. You know, first of the month. Okay, yes, you're hero to zero. So you did 25 last month. You did 29. You did 32. New month, you're at zero. What have you got going? What have you got doing? You know, are you making calls? Who have you got coming in? So the reason I've reached my level of success is because my family. The most important thing to me in the world is my family. And I always say, by no means am I perfect, but I'm a really good dad and I'm really tame when I'm home with the family. But my family is my most important thing. I've got my beautiful wife, my daughter Grace, who's 10, my son Noel, who's 3, and this is one of our favorite pictures. This is by where we live. And if you've never been to Utah, you've got to get there. It's one of the most beautiful states. It's a gem that nobody knows about. You can go from the mountains and skiing down to the desert and stuff like this in between. But you've got the bluest sky, but Inspiration Point. That's one of my favorite things. And you know, it's funny, we went there when I was tackling something in my mind and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Did I want to pursue this? Did I want to pursue that? I built a perfect thing. We went there, we took that picture. It's the best business to be in when you're busy, but the worst when you're slow. The car business is a great industry. There's tons of opportunity. But whenever I go into work for my family. I always say, if I'm going to come into work and I'm going to work 60 hours a week, my family's going to live in a big, nice house in a nice neighborhood, and we're going to go on vacations. Those are two things we're going to do. If Dad's gone all the time, there's a reason Dad's gone. Because I come into work for my family. I've been to a bunch of sessions, heard some of the keynotes, and it's the same thing. I'll get into those again, but you have to have a purpose to go in for. And then ultimately, if you want to be successful, you have to have a passion for that purpose. And have a passion also that you're working for. Serving your customers. Doing your job thoroughly. Appreciating the rules of the dealership. You know, one of the biggest things is people say, oh gosh, I hate, I got stated, and I hate how we have to do this, and I don't want to deal with the BDC. You know, the BDC is your ally. When they started the BDC at our dealership, I was the one who got thrown out the first time because I fought it so hard and I was the top producer. But then they brought it back and they're like, this is the way it is. I haven't always utilized it. I started to learn how to utilize it. That's like free secretary. You don't have to worry about the internet. You don't have to worry about the marketing. You don't have to worry about the staff. You don't have to worry about the building. You don't have to worry about the lights. All you've got to learn about is investing a little bit of money in yourself, coming to things like this, or getting your dealer to send you, having some prospecting tools, having some gadgets, spending the time, invest in yourself with your time, energy, and money to make yourself great, because you've got a dealership, a business that's investing all this for you. They're giving you the groundwork. They're giving you a support staff. All you've got to do is, utilize that. Take advantage of that. So I've got probably more hashtags than just about anybody you know. So I got gunslinger, guy just gets up, packs up, moves across the country. Trailblazer, I'm a trailblazer, blazing the trail, making it easier for everybody who wants to follow. Make it easy, show them how I did it, show them the ways, tell them, get your process down. Always out to be better, start a new adventure. And, what I really want to do is I came here to inspire and motivate you what you can do, and where you can go, and where you can grow with this business. Blaze trails, do different things. Watch what the top producers are doing. Follow their lead. One of the best, I started out in the business. I made $85,000 my first year. I was 21 years old. I'm the baddest thing there is. Nobody's better than me. I'm the man. I don't need to know anything. I'm the best. I'm a natural. Then I went down to 65. Then I went down to 55. Now, my wife's pregnant. We've got a house. And when I made 85, I had no overhead. Now I've got tons of overhead. I'm maturing in life. I'm gaining abundant, I'm grabbing things in life, buying things, having a child. I wasn't making any money. So I was like, okay, what you're doing is useless. Your mentality is horrible. So what I started doing is I started following the best guys at the dealership. And this is, 10, 11, 12 years ago. Now there's so many videos you can watch. There's so many top performers out there that post stuff. There's so many groups on Facebook. There's, there's Digital Dealer. There's so many different media sources that you can watch what the best are doing, and it's okay to copy, because really very few things have been invented. The wheel was invented thousands of years ago. They just keep making it better. They don't try and change the shape of it. They keep it as a circle. So take what's good and make it great for you, because we all have a different personality and we all have a different process. So, you want to take what's good and make it great for you. But what I'm here to do is inspire you and motivate you that you can be the very best there is, and show you a couple different ways that you can do it. Now, for me, it was a little different because I was kind of playing two sides of the fence. I've got my side, and then I've got my car dealership. So I use social media primarily for what I was chasing. But so many people do it. They post the pics, they tag the people that they're selling the car to, maybe tag a friend or two of theirs that might be looking for a vehicle, or have them tag them and share it. Work with your customers. When you're there and you've got that relationship built, just keep giving them stuff and keep asking for stuff back. Hey, is it okay if I do this for you? Hey, I'm going to go do this, so you don't have to, okay? Hey, I'm going to do this. By the way, while I'm up bouncing around and I got to get this, I'm going to check on prep, make sure your car's getting done, see how the paperwork's going in financing. Could you do me a favor? Could you post this on Facebook and tag me? And ask your friends to share it? Take off. Do me a favor. While I'm up, do this, this, and this for me, okay? And I'll be back in 10 minutes. If you command by asking, they'll do it. Not when they leave, say, hey, will you do me a favor? Will you post this when you get home? You know, ask right there. Make it a command. Ask a favor, but make it a command. That stuff works all the time. So this here was one of my good customers. I sold the family 10, 12 vehicles. They own a business also. I sold the business 10, 12 vehicles. But, you know, when she posted that, they're like friends. When she posted that, I had like 3 referrals that week. And when I get people on the phone, you know, so the trick is digital media, all that stuff's great. And you need that. But my theory is that's to get people to email you on your website. Then you get engagement. Then you start interacting by email, text messaging. Then you turn that into a phone call, and the phone call turns into an appointment. That's how you sell cars effectively. If you're selling all your cars through emails, you're going to have a tough way to keep growth because they're just doing the same thing. Copy, paste, you know, send. Copy, paste, send. Copy. My daughter made me 6 years ago in preschool. I've got pictures of my wife and kids. I've got all my Ford awards. I've got the little scribble coloring that my son did when he was like 1.5 years. You know, when you get up, that's like a snapshot of who you are. People can enjoy and appreciate who you are. It will start to sink in. And, you know, and you don't have to have a family. If you're a dog lover, have that. But it creates conversation also. But it gets people to start to like you. I mean, the whole goal, you know, all this digital, like I said, is great, but it's still ultimately what happens when the salesperson meets that customer. That's what all that's made to do. It happens when the salesperson meets that customer. And you want to be, I don't know if you guys saw the keynote, but I thought the keynote was great. But you want to be ready. You want to be prepared, and you want to make it a streamless process. Make your process the same on everything you do. When I first started traveling, I remember I'd fly, and I always fly out the red eye because I want to maximize the time with my family. You know, it's like I can stay up for a day and fly on the plane if I can spend the whole day with my family. So I'd fly the red eye. And I remember one time thinking, boy, geez, you know, am I going to still remember how to do this? You know, am I going to be rusty? Get back to the office, tired, barely slept, slept a couple hours on the plane, barely slept. And first thing, got in, had 12 phone calls, emails, called everybody back, appointment, and they take off like, they're both teachers, they take off like 8 weeks. I'm like, how cool is that? I'm like, that is awesome. They just got in a motorhome and they're just going all around the country and seeing everything. And I'm like, how cool is that? Well, I got myself to the point where I could do that because of the value I added to my customers, because of the effort I put in at the dealership. I was that much value to the dealership. And when I came in, I performed. I came in, I performed. Spending went up, performance went up. You know, so when I was there, I came in and I performed. I'm lucky I work for Varsity Ford. We're the #3 Ford dealership in the nation. Great owners, great mentors, and they get stuff done. And I've learned a lot, but they know how much I value that they value me. Like people will call, I'm the biggest, like I try and get them into service all the time. Oh, use our body shop. Do this, you know, they see, I know they listen to calls and stuff like that, but and I'm not trying to impress anybody because I don't know when they're listening, but I really care about them because they care about me. You know, it's a great culture there, and there's 20 things I can change, but remember, it's their business. I'm just a little kiosk in there. You know, so I'm going to do what I can do with my business and go by the rules of the mall. You know, that's how you do it. But once again, to show what you can do, I made $150,000 in 25 weeks. In the car business. That's $6,000 a week. That's $1,000 a day. I mean, that's the stuff you can do in this business if you just work it. You just have to work it. You know, sales isn't easy. You're going to face failure and disappointment from many different forces, and you can't let that keep you down. You know, I was talking to some people last night, and yeah, so your appointment doesn't show, you get skated, they're cutting the pay plan, you know, are you going to let that kill your attitude? You're going to be in a bad mood. You know, I'm going to show them. I'm not going to call anybody for 2 weeks. You know, I'm going to show. That's showing yourself. That's not doing anything. You know, take control of yourself. You can't let that keep you in a hole. You know, I'm doing a lot of things, and I've faced a lot of downfalls and a lot of losses. But you know what? The thing is, I've kept my attitude is altitude. I've kept my attitude up the whole time. And attitude is altitude. That you're going to get out of that hole. You're going to get out of that hole. But you just got to keep your attitude up. And then you appreciate it that much more, just like when you get on fire at work. And it's like, man, everybody I talk, like, this is easy. Everybody I talk to, appointment sale, they're getting all the products, they're doing this, they're buying all the extras, they're going down for a higher price. You know, keep your attitude up. Attitude is altitude. Don't let it bring you down. And the stupidest thing, I've been a victim, I've made myself a victim of this. I wasn't a victim, I made myself a victim of this. I get pissed off about something at the dealership. And so I'm not going to make calls this week. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to follow up. I'm not going to take any ups. And glancing back, it's like, that was the stupidest thing I could do. Because really, when I sold the best at the dealership, was when somebody pissed me off, like somebody did skate me. Oh, I just went out like a fireball. You know, I was determined. I was motivated. You know, let negatives motivate you. Let negatives motivate you. The best warriors always train hard, invest their time in getting better, and that's what makes champions, really. You know, classic story, Conor McGregor. Anybody watch MMA? No? Okay, so we don't have any MMA fighters. Well, I wasn't a big fan of it, but as I traveled, I was living with my best friend, and he's a huge MMA fan, so we watched the fights every Saturday. I was living with him and his family. So we watched the fights every Saturday, and he just won a big fight. It was in Vegas, and he won the champion who hadn't lost in like 10 years. He had like the longest running belt of anybody. And, you know, they're like, he knocked him out in one punch. He knocked him out, fastest fight ever, and he's fighting the best. And then he got interviewed, and they're like, well, are you going to fight Jose Aldo again? Are you going to give him the rematch? And he said, you know, if he proves to me, he's like, I trained my ass off. He's like, I told everybody what was going to happen. Nobody listened. They thought I was just talking smack. He's like, I knew I had my game down. I worked so hard. I trained so hard. I fought so hard. I worked out so hard. I ran so hard. I did everything harder than I'd ever seen anybody do because I knew it was making me the best. And he goes, so if Jose Aldo does want to train like I did, and he wants to fight a couple fights to prove he's capable, I will fight him. But I mean, everybody thought that was arrogant, but no, it's like the truth. It's like I trained my butt off. And so I don't just want to fight him again if he's just coming with the same game. He better step his game up, and he's going to prove to me that he does it. And it's, you know, I love success stories, and it's, but the best warriors train hard, invest your time, energy, and, you know, buy things that make you better at sales. Do things that make you better at sales. Read books that make you better at sales. Attend things like this that make you better at sales. Join groups that make you better at sales. Advertise somewhere that makes you better at sales, but invest in yourself in many different ways. It gets to this right here. How do you become a champion? Well, you've got to market yourself. So when we lived in Dexter, Michigan, it's a small town right outside of Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor's go blue. We got Harbaugh back. But everybody in my neighborhood knew where I worked, knew what I did, knew where I lived. And whenever I'd go help out at my daughter's school, there we dressed pretty casual. I'd wear dress shoes, nice slacks, and a company logo polo. So everybody knew where I worked. And they'd be like, I'd be high-fiving the kids, or we'd go to church, and we'd bring up the gifts. They saw where I worked. They saw who I was. They wanted to deal with me. You know, let people know. By the end of leaving there, we lived there for 8 years. By the end of leaving there, I was like the celebrity in town. I advertised my church. I always made sure that we sponsored stuff for the church, that we got money to the church. One of the biggest referrers was my priest. His name's Father Walsh, so you know he's lucky enough to have a cool last name. And not everybody can have that last name. But, you know, I added value to him, so he added value to me. But everybody knew who I was and knew what I did. So I was kind of like a walking billboard for myself. But you've got to do the same thing. If you're in groups, you're in clubs, whatever you're passionate about, if you're in an apartment complex, you know, put together like a newsletter, like, hey, we're having an oil change. You know, come up and see me, we'll have an oil change special. Self-market yourself. You know, market people, hey, I live right over here in this building, or we live over on this street, or I attend this church with you, or I do this, that you want to market yourself to people that are like you because you've already got that relationship built right there. Oh, they live in our neighborhood. Oh, they go to our church. Oh, they're in the same club as we are. Oh, we're this. And wear your shirt logo and be a billboard. Because people want to deal with people that are like them. You know, we want to stay with our tribe. We want to be with people, you get along with people who have a story like yours, who talk like you, who look like you. You get along with your tribe. It's human nature, same with animals. So market yourself to your friends, your neighbors, the community. It's you who will reach people for you above anyone else. If you rely on the dealership, the programs, 0%, marketing, oh, we're having a slow month, the weather, you're never going to be a winner. You're never going to fully win at your potential. Because there's always going to be some force that holds you down. And when you put a crutch under that, that's only going to hold you down more. You need to stay away from forces that hold you down. Rely on yourself. Rely on your instincts. That's why I said train like a champion. If you want to be the best, you've got to work like the best. Do not hold your breath. So further training like I talked about, watching the best, investing in yourself, and staying on top of what's new. The market's changing so quick. Everybody in here is a pretty young crowd. But social media is huge right now. Everybody's on Facebook. My gosh, I spend 4 hours a day on Facebook. But I'm on there all the time. There's so much business to be done. Utilize that. It's good for you to come to an event like this, that you're learning the new age. I mean, stay on top of stuff. Yeah, keep your process, but stay on top of things. You don't want to just, this is the way I'm doing it, and I'm not doing it any other way, because you're going to fall out. You're going to become obsolete. That happened to the big three. The big three sold the most cars. They weren't staying ahead of innovation. Honda and Toyota came in. Oh, we're going to take, they aren't going to do anything to us. I mean, look at it. They started losing. You've got to stay. Ford was a great turnaround story. They almost crumbled apart. I love selling that brand. I was passionate about it, but they almost fell apart. But then they got somebody in there who was innovative. And they came out with the fastest touchscreen and the sync system. And, you've got to stay innovative yourself, because if you don't, you're gonna become obsolete. Ultimately, it's a salesperson with a pen that's closing the deal. Kind of like I talked about earlier. That's why I like to bounce back, because I believe, same with me, if you kind of repeat things, it sinks in a little bit better. You say it a little different approach, it sinks in a different way, and it reaches more people. But it's a salesperson with a pen. This is what sells vehicles. All that other stuff brings them in and gets them to you. But ultimately, it's when they meet you, if they trust you, the appearance of your dealership, your product knowledge. It's a salesperson with a pen who's making all the sales. Be a part of your customer's life. Get people talking about and referring you. The best way to get more customers is to get referrals. They talked about in the keynote. I watched a session yesterday that talked about that. It's all about getting referrals. The closing ratio on referrals is, I've heard, anywhere from 50 to 75%, but no matter what it is, that is huge. Fresh traffic that's engaged, not just people looking at your website, is 20 to 25%. So get referrals, take care of people. Come with a different approach. Hey, anybody looking for a car? I pay a $100 referral fee. That's a little bit old school. Hey, you said you're in a B&I network. Has anybody in that network been talking about a vehicle? Do you have any family members who might be having a problem with their vehicle? Do you have anybody in your area that has an old vehicle? I mean, if you say it in a broad way, you're like, oh my gosh, you just hit me with a huge answer. But if you slim that down, they'll start thinking about it. And even if they don't have somebody in their B&I, they'll go, no, but you know what? A lady at church was talking about, she needs one. Or, my neighbor down the street, her car, I saw they got it towed the other day. Or she said she needs a new transmission. But when you're asking referrals, simplify it and do it like a question. Because then you're not like pounding them with, how many acres are in the world? You're asking them a simple question, which therefore their mind can travel to an answer for you. And if you do this, give, take in your process. You do a follow-up call, give, take. Send out to people in your area, come in for an oil change. I would like to meet you, you're my neighbor. You just gotta come up and see me because I gotta sign the back of the card. It's just dealership policy. When they're there, give, take. That's how you maximize customers. It's give and take. The more customers you have, I mean, that's why I'm able to do what I did. You know, I sold some more, got their friends and family. Their kids started growing up. They sent in more people. Those people sent in more people. Those people sent in more people. Now you've got all these raving fans. You're your own business. You know, you don't have to do a billboard. You don't have to do that. I mean, you're your own business. So, you know, make your customers your fan by really taking care of them when they call. And hey, call at 11 o'clock at night on Sunday. Hey, my tire just blew. I'm on the side of the road. What's roadside assistance number? Know that number or have it in your phone. You know, if I don't recognize the number, I won't take the call, but then, you know, I'll check the voicemail and hey, this is Mike, my car broke down. You know, I'm on the side of the road. Kid's crying. I can't find the number for roadside. I tried Googling it, it popped me all these different sites. You know, call them back, handle that pain. People appreciate that. You know, you come in on a Monday morning, you're tired, you fought with your spouse in the morning, you don't want to deal with anything, you get a service call, you're like, I'll call them later. Get it out of the way, handle it, take away the pain. That's what brings customers back, taking the pain out of the process. The more referrals, the larger you reach. It's like, you know, it's a funnel. You know, you start here with the customer and you want to bring them here, but then you take that customer and you start going out here with them. All right, I don't know if you guys are, who's here at stores at least? What percentage?
35, 40.
35, 40? Same?
Yeah, 30.
Okay. That's how I was able to do it. Our markets, you know, some markets are great for leasing, some aren't as good. Our market's great for leasing, but I started getting my approach because when I first started, I started selling used, and then I transferred to new, and then I moved to the big dealership. And I got aggressive quick because I had to. I had the overhead, I had my daughter. My wife stayed at home. But my partner, we were selling about close to the same. You know, I was kind of catching up to him. But he would lease everything. And I was probably 35 to 40%. But then I saw how much harder I had to work to put up similar numbers because I had to go out and get new people. And people would call you, hey, yeah, we're excited, but they're 2 years in on a 6-year loan. There's really not much you can do for them because they're $5,000, $8,000 upside